Layers make it real easy to go in there and make multiples of something and make them look different. What am I talking about? Well, let's go look at an example. Right up here, the lights that light up the facades of the Toys R Us building. We see all these different lights, and we look at them, and they're all at different angles and so on. We get in real close, and we see that they are, in fact, different. See that the wires are going different directions. Look at the dirt on the front of each one. They all are different. They have little dirt on the sides. Every individual light is different from its neighbor, different angles, and so on. And they're also getting smaller as they get further away, way down to the end there, as opposed to the ones that are real close to us, which are quite large. So let's go look at that. What happened is that I created a single light. I only created one. I didn't have to create 22 of them for that side of the building. I just created one. And we're getting close. We see that it's got a lot of details, a lot of stuff going on, but you see they're very clean, except for the dirt in the front, little bolts and stuff, little shadows, but everything, absolutely everything in this light is in its own layer. On top, we have the comp. That's the composite of all the different layers that's going to be brought in to the overall file. And we can see that every little element is in its own layer. There's groups and subgroups in here, and you can see we can open up there's the front plate and top housing, which has another little group here. That's this cone here. And there's the top brace and so on. So there's a lot of different layers. Now, the reason we see so many lights and they're all different is because of the fact that everything is in a layer. They are the same light over and over again, but everyone has its little nuance, and that's what is easy because of layers, like the dirt. That dirt layer right there, which if I wanted to see that layer in particular, and I can't remember what I called it, I could just hold down my control key right here and click on it, and I could see there's a list, and right there it came to dirt. So if I click on dirt, there's the dirt layer right there, which I can turn that off, and you can see there's the layer turns off. By changing that layer right there, I was able to make every light look different, and a little tilt here and there made the difference. Now, when we look at the file where all the lights have been assembled, right here, we said there they are going back in space, making smaller as they go around. This one's tilted a little bit, this one's tilted that way, and so on. Each one looks different. Now, how did I determine their size difference? I used the blend tool in Illustrator. The series of tutorials on Illustrator will explain this little feature, but right here you see that I have a layer called guides. And what I did is I created the basic shape, and using my perspective in Illustrator, I created the far shape, which is a little guy there, and then I blended from one to the other, giving me all the steps in between. So I had a guide for how I was going to shrink each light. So once I added the wire and changed the dirt and the angles of the shadows and such, I was able to then create the second light, the third, fourth, all the way down to the end here, and they're all going back in space, getting smaller, and each one looks different. So all these lights came from one single light, and since everything was in a layer, it made it real easy to make multiples that all look like they're individual lights.